Okay, in the office hours, somebody asked me to do the exercise number 6 on page 65, and I thought I'll just record what I did so that all of you can have a look at that. So first of all, I just want to share my screen. So the data set that I'm going to use is CEOTime, and if you read the actual description of the exercise, it asks for what is the least amount of time a CEO spent per week in meetings in the sample, and the highest. Use a class width of 2 hours to prepare frequency distribution and a percent frequency distribution for the data. Prepare a histogram and comment on the shape of the distribution. So I'm going to do that quickly. I open the file in Excel, as you can see. And as soon as our data is coming up, I'll show you how I would do the min and the max, which is the highest and the lowest values. And then I'm going to demonstrate to you how I use pivot table to do a histogram, and I am of the opinion that that's the best way to do it, but by all means you are free to do it in the way that the book is describing it. Okay, so first of all, I want to calculate the min and the max. A typical way that I do this is to insert an additional column, and this is just making the display much simpler. And then I can key in here min, I can key in here max, or lowest and highest if that's your preference. The formula for min is equal min, left bracket, highlight all the data, right bracket, and that gives me the min. The max is the similar max, highlight all the data, and right bracket, and there's my min and max calculated in Excel. If any of these values change, it will automatically change as well. To do a pivot table is click anywhere in the table, insert, click on pivot table, here on the right hand side, click on OK. Darn, I wanted to keep it next to the data, so I'm just going to do that again. Insert pivot table in the existing worksheet, and you can obviously create a new worksheet, but I just wanted to do it in this worksheet. Okay, simple. Drag the field that you're interested in the rows column, and drag the field into the other field into that into the values column. Change the values to count, because as you know, a histogram is made up of counts, and that's very important. Sometimes students fail to do this. So I can change the row label to time, and I can change this one to frequency or something like that. And now here's the big trick. You right click here and you bring up something called group. Now this is grouping it, and the specification was in groups of 2. I normally just make sure that this ends up so that 12 times something 2 equals 24, and voila, job done. If I now want to, and there's my frequency distribution. If I in fact want to also do in the same table also a percentage as was expected, that is count again, so that's great. And now if I right click here, I can show the value as a percentage of the column total. And here's my percentages. So that is, use a class width of 2 hours to prepare frequency distribution and a percent frequency distribution for the data. Job done. Now I'm just gonna, a trick that I do is make a copy of this so that I can remove this one again. And now I can go straight out and draw a histogram. Insert, here's my histogram, this one, and there's the start of my histogram. At the moment it's a bar chart. You might have seen that there should be no gaps in between, so let me just change the title. Histogram of CEOTime. Okay. just going to make it bigger so you can see more easier what I'm up to. Okay, so the first thing is we need to remove the gaps. I right click on here, format the data series, and on the right hand side will be a place where I can make the gap 0. And that's a typical thing that I do. You can see here the headings at the bottom is far more clearer, 12 to 13, 14 to 15, 16 to 17, and so on. So it's very clear what's happening. I generally hide these buttons, hide all field buttons on the chart, so it doesn't look like it's an Excel graph. And I also remove this because it's a bit redundant. So I remove the legend. I make this, generally speaking, a bit bigger so that it's more easier to read. I click on this and make it bigger. I make this bigger. To enhance the graph, I generally add something called data labels so that you can see exactly what the count is. And then I color this part of the graph by formatting the plot area, and I fill it and I make it white. You'll see why it sounds ridiculous, but that's what I do. And then I go on the outer side and pull that one solid fill, and I make it some lightish color, maybe gray even. Obviously, I can change the rest of the colors to suit me. Why not do it? Maybe I know this is going to be reported in a black and white type of thing, so I want to change this color to a solid full of sort of darker black. Again, by the way, in this particular case, I'll make a small gap, and you can see, I think if in terms of the bottom, what's written here at the bottom, you can make a gap of 1, but that makes it quite readable. I would probably click on there and make this bigger, and so on. So you can eventually make quite a nice graph. I would typically remove these grid lines so that I get quite a nice clean graph. What do you think of that? Just as a last part, I will, if you click on here, there's a little plus sign that comes up here. And you can add access titles. So I can say here, time, what can I call it? Groups, time, with time width or something. Some nice description, and what I can call here is frequency. And again, I probably make this more readable by making it bigger. I think I want to call it time interval, so I'm not worried about the width. I think that makes for quite a nice readable graph. I would even focus on making sure that the gray areas is the same right around. It's a nice pleasing graph. Just while I've got you, to put this into a Word document, I can open up a Word document. I don't know, you probably didn't see, but I pressed Control C. Hit on the graph, Control C, go to my Word document, because in one of the assignments you have to do a report, or in all of the assignments you have to do a report. I can paste it. My personal choice is to paste it as a picture, because then you know it won't do some just forming or something when you work with it. And there it is. I can now add a description here or discussion. In this particular case, it's prepare a histogram and comment on the shape. This shape is not normal for, what's the word I'm looking for? Not, what's the word? This two sides doesn't look the same. Symmetrical. Symmetrical. Now I don't know how to spell it, but hopefully the word will help me out. Yeah, it does. How do you spell symmetrical? There you are. Um, it looks bimodal, and so on. So I can have a discussion. I hope you enjoyed this quick one. Let me know what you think. For me, this is the absolute way of drawing a histogram. Uh, by all means, you can use the methods described in the book, but I think this is quick and easy. And thank you for watching so far.